Welcome back to the channel, everyone. It's I, the Reluctant Gringo, back again with another video. And today I wanted to talk to you about diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's right, DEI. So DEI has been a hot topic lately with the leaking of internal DEI guidelines from Disney and additional DEI guidelines being added to the Academy of Motion Pictures' already existing DEI guidelines for who's eligible for an award. Now, there are lawsuits against Disney now for discrimination. Best Buy, Amazon, and a myriad of other companies have received negative backlash because of their DEI rules, some of them creating programs and opportunities that specifically bar white men or hetero white men from applying for benefits based on race and gender. Now, a while back, I made a video about the US government, specifically the US State Department, and their exclusion of white men, white hetero men, white homosexual men, and people who are Christian in faith from being accepted into the Foreign Service. Now, if you don't know what that is, basically, these are the people who work in the U.S. embassies overseas and the U.S. State Department and craft U.S. foreign policy. So, but exactly how does DEI work and how is it implemented? Well, lucky for you, I am here. As a former employee of Apple, I had to navigate similar DEI regulations put in place during the Summer of Love in 2020. I was a manager at the time. There were many of us at the same team. We had dozens of employees working under us when the mandate came down from Deidre O'Brien's office. She's the head of Apple Retail Worldwide and reports directly to Tim Cook, both of whom are openly gay and advocates of extreme leftist propaganda, such as forcing employees to wear BLM t-shirts and Pride merchandise as part of their everyday dress. Otherwise, you'll face the inevitable questions about whether you are really an ally or not. With DEI, it always starts at the top and then trickles down. So we got word that Deidre O'Brien's office would have a new committee formed to look at all the new hires and all promotions to ensure that they were advocating for diversity and equity. What that meant at the time, no one knew, but I quickly found out. I was mentoring a young 23-year-old woman. She was bright and dedicated and was always consistent in her work and development. She was blonde with blue eyes and white. She was applying for an open position within our team that no one else wanted. It was a thankless job, but one that she wanted because it involved training others. And the thought of helping others be successful was at the core of who she was as a person. Now, all the other managers agreed with me. She was well qualified and she would be given the job. Besides, no one else wanted the job. The position had been open and publicly posted for at least 6 months. Now, I was ready to give this young woman the good news, and the pay raise would make her smile too. And in those times, and in any times, even a $2 raise, per hour can be life-changing. However, before I could call her up, and now remind you, we were still in quarantine at the time and working from home, and my boss called me right before I could call her and said that we cannot give this young woman the job. And I asked why. And my boss replied, and this quote will never leave my mind, because right now we cannot promote another blue-eyed blonde woman. With George Floyd and these new rules, it would not look good and we would get rejected from corporate, which would make us look bad. I was shocked in the moment. I asked my boss how I should explain this to this young woman. I was told to lie and tell this person that she was just not ready. That was the moment I knew that my time at Apple was limited. In the preceding weeks, as we had more conversations about promoting people, the conversations about candidates no longer focused on qualified versus not qualified. That didn't matter anymore. Instead, candidates were vetted by sexual orientation and race. An actual quote from a peer I remember was, quote, "Oh, he would be a great candidate for promotion. He's gay and he's Latino. He'll get through the committee, no problem." We basically stopped talking about qualifications. And soon after, I was told from a higher-up friend that I should not bother applying for promotions anymore. I'm a white guy and I just won't get through. And that's how DEI works. Now, you can be the judge. My story that I just told you is typical of what happens now. No longer are qualifications a requirement for success. No longer are we a meritocracy. I make no bones about being married to a wonderful Mexican woman. So I tell my kids when applying for anything, never mark white. Always mark Latino. And you'll never be rejected. And guess what? They haven't been. Colleges, loans, everything. Does that make me a hypocrite? No, I don't think so. I'm just reading the rules of the game and helping the ones I love navigate modern life. Do I wish it was different? Hell yes. And as I said in an earlier video, I really do believe in the words of Martin Luther King Jr., that we should be judged by the content of our character and not the color of our skin. And add to that now our sexual preferences, our choice of faith, our gender, or our political beliefs. But that world has passed. It no longer exists. That dream is dead. And until DEI is rejected as a set of rules and regulations to be adhered to, so is most of the American dream. And I'll be the first to admit I still have guilt over this whole situation. I wish I was stronger. I wish I was different, but it was a time of COVID. It was a time when all manner of people were losing their jobs and I had a family. And all I knew is I needed to hold on to my job because I didn't know what the future would bring. I had 2 kids and a wife. I had a house. And I didn't want to lose it all because I tried to stand up to the machine. I should have fought harder for her. I should have fought harder for that person. I should have voiced my opinion. Maybe I would have lost my job. Maybe I wouldn't have. But I know that I do still live with a little bit of guilt right in here because of it. I should have been the bigger person. But I wasn't. It was a moment of weakness, and it's one that I apologize for. Because looking back at it, it just made me feel so sick and nauseous. But I got to live with that now, and that's the way it is. But that's why I talk about this stuff now, because I know how bad it can be and how bad it can make people feel. But that's what I got to say. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And check out my video on DEI and the U.S. State Department for more information. And check out my other playlist by clicking on the thumbnails at the end of this video. As always, I am your reluctant gringo, and from south of the border, salud and a huevo.